Hi, this is Mr. Tanaik, and you're watching this video most likely because you were not able to attend our family night at the school on Thursday, September the 8th. It's unfortunate that we couldn't meet. I hope to get a chance to meet you face to face. I get to know you a little bit better. But this is the presentation that you would have got had you come to the school. I'm going to try to move through this quickly. This is not the first time I've tried to record this. And it's been a struggle to cram it into the time frame I'm supposed to use. So again, my name is Mr. Tanaik, and that is pronounced with the number 10 and then Ike, like President Ike or Mike and Ike candies, if that helps. Okay, this is my first year at Trinity. I've taught for 7 years overall. I taught for 4 years at an elementary school in northern Person County. I taught for 2 years there. I've taught for 4 years at a high school in Person County, teaching Math 2, Math 3, pre-calculus, and discrete math. And then prior to moving to North Carolina, I taught for about 4.5 years at Lake Superior State University in northern Michigan. It was like a music and guitar class. I have my engineering degree from Michigan Tech. I am currently working on and hope to graduate this semester with a Master's of Divinity from Southeastern Seminary up in Wake Forest. I live in Person County, and I have 3 sons. Gabriel and Calvin attend Bethel Hill as a 4th and 1st grader, and my son Daniel goes to daycare at the moment. I was born in northern Michigan, as was my wife Jacqueline. We've been married since 2006, and we moved to North Carolina about 10 years ago, so she could be a teacher and I could find and attend a seminary. And since then, I was called into education. So that's how I became a teacher in short. I'm also the part-time youth minister at Berries Grove Baptist Church in Timberlake, where I attend. I enjoy things like gaming, lifting, woodworking. There's a set of notes here that I'm just going to look at quickly, but just to let you know that many of our units all have notes provided. I look at those as like a guided note, where there's some things filled in, there's some things the students can add to. This will be a big portion of our class, learning how to take notes. Too many high school students spend the time in class just transcribing everything that's on the screen or on the board or the teacher says, and that's not what we need. We need to be able to listen and pay attention and actually gain some insight and understanding about our new content. So you'll see things like these graphs, things that the students won't be able to jot down quickly or accurately, and they'll spend too much of their attention on those. So I'm giving those to them. There'll be some questions that they can answer in class. Maybe they could even take home. That could be part of their homework. They can have some continued thinking about this topic. There'll be some places like you see these graphs here where they can try something themselves. There'll be a slew of different kinds of activities and problems in the notes. You notice there's some amount of free space on one page, maybe more on another, kind of blank places for them to take notes. Again, graphs that they would not be able to replicate quickly, technical terms or symbols, kind of the mechanics that we need for math. So you'll see these notebooks throughout the year, and if you have any input on them, I'd love that, but I've found pretty good success with those, and I probably will take a classwork grade for the completed notes towards the end of a unit. Here's a breakdown of our class. As far as topics, we're going to start we have started, with functions, an overview of functions, some function mechanics and features. We'll get into specific functions like linear, quadratic, square root, absolute value, piecewise. We'll look at polynomials, exponential and log functions, rational functions, reciprocal functions. Then we'll wrap up with conic sections. That's kind of breaching into pre-calc a bit, and hopefully we'll get to probability, which is a really fun unit. Our course looks in some ways very traditional. We have a math book, which they could leave at school or at times may have to bring home for an assignment. We will have paper assignments. You've probably seen some of those already. We'll have a new website for most Trinity students called Delta Math. And if your student hasn't shown that to you, I'd encourage you to have them show you what the format there looks like. We have not yet in my class gotten into IXL. I think that's a website or a platform that you may be familiar with. We're waiting on some more licenses to be purchased so that my class can jump on that. That's a platform I've had a lot of success with in the past. It's very adaptive. It's easy to align to different levels of students and differentiate between one student's needs and another. We use a website called Desmos. Again, I would encourage you to have your student show you that. It's an online graphing calculator. Your student probably has and needs to have a graphing calculator in class, but Desmos is just an easier platform for most of the things we'll do while we're seated. The kids can type things quite quickly and easily. The graphs are colored and easier to view than the small screen of their TI-84s or whichever model they might have. So I encourage you to show them that or even to check it out yourself. And we'll probably have a project or two along the way. The biggest difference in my class here is probably going to be the homework. And so when they get homework, it is due for the most part the next time we meet. If that is not the case, I will let them know clearly. So if we met today and we meet again on Monday, then the homework is due that Monday. If it was different, like if we met today, which is Thursday as I'm recording, and we do not meet on Friday, but that's when the homework's due, they would have to drop that off to me at some point during the day before they leave on Friday. All right, my goal for homework, as you can see there, is to help them, right? To reinforce learning, to try to figure out what do they really get, what are they struggling with, how to put these new skills and things into practice, to give a variety of different forms for how a new skill or problem might be approached. My goal is not, for heaven's sakes, my goal is not to harm them. So we may end up having a lot of homework, which you could think that might be a lot of missing assignments or missing grades, and I don't want that. So the way I'm going to grade homework is if you give it a good effort. I can see that you tried, you showed some work. Even if you got stuck, even if you got a wrong answer, I'm going to give you 100. Now this isn't just participation. This is you really trying to see if you understand what's going on. They'll come to class, they'll take the initiative to check the answers. I'll have those projected up on the board so they can see, did I do this right, did I do this wrong? And then they can search for help, whether that be for a seatmate or from myself, so they can try to figure out what they did wrong. They can do that at the start of class, and they may be able to get help later in the day during class or at a study hall. And I'm going to come to this slide right now and just say, for me, grades are very important. They're not a necessary evil. I don't think grades are evil, but I also don't think they're ultimate. We need grades to see how we're doing. We need grades to see our progress. It's good for us to be evaluated and critiqued and shown what kind of progress we've been making. And let me just say this because I've encountered this with a number of parents in my time. Grades are not a representation of your child. So if you have an A child, a student who's had an A, and you might think of them as an A student, if they get a B, or if they get lower than a B on something this semester, that does not mean your child has failed, at least not in my eyes. And I trust that is easy to understand. I have children, like I said, in school. I think their grades are important. I keep up on their grades. I want them to do as well as they can. But that letter or that number doesn't tell me much about my son, and it doesn't tell me much about your child. So I think grades are important, and they have their place. But I don't think it's the biggest thing. And I just say that because sometimes grades take a weight that I think is disproportionate. And I also put here that grades may reflect your student's current progress. Why may? Because maybe your student has been out for some reason. Maybe they missed something. Maybe they struggled on a test, which carries a lot of weight. All of that is going to affect their grade, and it might not really show what they've actually learned. Ideally, our grades are reflective of where we are as a student, but just practically that's not always the case, and I hope that makes sense. So here's my final little spiel. I want you to talk positively about math at home or around your student. What I mean by that is too many of us say things like, well, I'm not a math person, or, oh yeah, I'm good at math, or, oh, this person is good at math, or talk positively about it. Now, I don't need your child to grow up and become a mathematician, but I don't need them to be nurtured to hate or fear math either. And I think a big part of that is keeping this idea of balanced grades. Stay on top of them, right? Again, I stay on top of my child's grades at their school. Stay on top of me. If we've had a test and you know that was 3 weeks ago and you don't see a grade, it's very appropriate for you to contact me and say, hey man, what's going on? But keep it in perspective. And what I mean by that is, I got a C in chemistry class in high school. Dr. Denton didn't bring that up or ask me about it when I applied. My wife didn't ask me about my grades in high school when I proposed. It's never seemed to really impact my life in a real way. My learning, or my lack of learning, has impacted my real life, but my grades have very rarely impacted my real day-to-day life. I hope that makes sense. I hope that doesn't sound cavalier or nonchalant. I think all of this we do is important, but I'm much more concerned about our students' actual learning. So here you can see a way to contact me. That is my email address at the school. It's posted on the website. If you have any questions at any time, please reach out to me, and I will answer as best as I can or try to help us both answer that question. I went a little longer than I want. I hope you're doing great. I love having the stewardship of your child for the school year. It is a blessing and an honor to be a part of a child's life. I can remember all of my teachers' names throughout my public education time, and I trust that's true for most people. And so at a school like Trinity, it's a blessing to be here, and it's a blessing to be a part of your family's life, even in this limited capacity. So I treasure it, I honor it, and I hope that we can work together well to nurture and foster your child and their academics. Have a good day.